on behalf of the church in Haiti, I'd like to thank everyone from the U.S. who helped the Haitian people, not only with the earthquake, but before the earthquake and with the hurricanes and grenades. And that really changed their lives, and that's a big impact in Haiti. So if anyone come to Haiti and tour Haiti to see what BDM done and what other organization done who has a lot of money, they're surprised to see the quality of our homes and how we change families' lives. So thank you so very much.
The island of Haiti has had a turbulent history for many years, but sprang to the forefront of Brethren awareness after 4 storms struck the island in 2008. Some Brethren faith groups were in devastated communities, homes destroyed by rain, mudslides, and raging rivers. At the time, the fledgling Haitian Church of the Brethren consisted mostly of house churches spread out across the country with little central organization, other than Ludovic St. Fleur, mission coordinator and pastor of the Miami Haitian Church of the Brethren. Brethren Disaster Ministries moved in with the 100 Homes in Haiti program and began raising funds and rebuilding homes for those affected by the hurricanes, as well as sending medical and food supplies. Unlike many relief agencies, Brethren efforts included entire communities and not just individual church members.
Chay qui était écrasé, l'eau a été pris Chay yo, gen moun tou, c'est l'eau a été découvert Chay yo. Chaque monde a gagné un handicap. Et puis à partir de là, passer de dos et frère Jeff dit après regarder qui ça est capable de faire pour voir si il est capable de retirer monde ça yo et dans problème là. Bien il était allé et bon Dieu était fait toute bagaille, il était arrivé construire quelques cailles dans ville là pour monde ça yo. Et il pas construit pour monde l'église seulement, il était construit pour l'autre monde qui était dans besoin. Et ça a apporté un grand changement, ça a augmenté la foi moun et ça a rendu l'église grandir plus vite. Ça a rendu l'église grandir plus vite, ça fait une aujourd'hui où nous venons gagner une grosse église comme ça, dans ici là. Ça a ouais moun senti que yo senti yo coré avec frère yo. Ouais frère yo était soucié de yo.
Work on homes started in the coastal town of Gonaive and continued around the Port-au-Prince area and out into the countryside, including the mountains east and north of the capital city. Although Haitians were the primary workforce, many work groups from the United States came to help and fellowship with Haitian Brethren. Spearheaded by Haitian coordinator Clébert Exis and BDM coordinator Jeff Bossert, new homes were built to similar designs, saving money. They were also built to higher, more storm-proof standards to make them more resilient to future damage. Many Haitian families benefited from the repair work and new construction. This early work proved a blessing when in January of 2010, an earthquake destroyed much of the capital of Port-au-Prince with great loss of life. But since Brethren Disaster Ministries was already on the ground, the response started almost immediately. Even as the earthquake response was starting, homes were still being built for victims of the hurricanes. The events blended into one of the largest international Brethren-led responses in decades. Hot meals were provided in schools around Gonaive after the flooding, and in Port-au-Prince after the earthquake, using canned chicken from the Mid-Atlantic and Southern districts, more than 60,000 pounds. Bulk food distribution during the earthquake response supported more than 1,000 families for 6 months. The Brethren shipped specially designed household kits to help Haitian families rebuild their lives, along with water filtration kits, blankets, baby and hygiene kits. Altogether, 17 shipments of nearly 325,000 pounds originated at the Brethren Service Center in New Windsor for Brethren Response and other agencies. Children were a focus of both the hurricane and earthquake responses, with grants to cover teachers' salaries so school could continue and provide a safe haven amidst the rubble. Working with Church World Service, Brethren Disaster Ministries also supported programming for disabled Haitians struggling to survive in the damaged city. The plan to build 100 homes was expanded. After the earthquake, emergency housing was built with materials that would eventually be recycled into other structures. Mud and rock homes with cement, mortar, and floors were built, some of the first cement floors in a mountainous region where communities are accessible only by foot trails. All Brethren-built homes include proper sanitation to promote good health. Most newly built homes had 3 rooms with a small porch and a latrine. These sturdy and earthquake-resistant homes have become a new standard as the Haitian government picked this design and size as guidance for minimum requirements. Safe sources of water were considered for all communities. This well was finished just as the cholera epidemic started and now serves a community of 20 Brethren-built homes. Special funds provided another well, allowing the Gonaive Church of the Brethren to provide clean water to their neighborhood and a source of income for the church. Haitian Church of the Brethren members provided leadership for a variety of agricultural projects, from seed banks and distribution to community garden projects with funding provided by BDM and the Global Food Crisis Fund. More than 250 farmers throughout Haiti benefited from the program, which also helps feed Haitians displaced by the earthquake. Throughout the relief efforts, work camps have traveled from the U.S. to Haiti to work alongside and worship with the Haitian Brethren. A group from the Lidditz Church of the Brethren brought sewing machines and taught sewing and supported a small business opportunity for women. But that was only a small fraction of the efforts, including microloans and the creation of more than 500 construction jobs for the Haitian people. As part of the efforts, critical medical supplies supported clinics in areas left without resources after the hurricane, and teams of doctors, nurses, and crisis counselors cared for more than 1,300 people after the quake. This has evolved into a program supported by the Global Missions Office for ongoing mobile medical clinics, with Haitian doctors serving remote Brethren communities. The spiritual and mental health of the community is being addressed as well. Working with Eastern Mennonite University and other denominations, Brethren Disaster Ministries has levered its experience in dealing with trauma to provide training in recovery and resiliency.
Nous te tout le monde dans situation traumatique là, il gagne trauma affecté plusieurs parties dans le monde. D'ailleurs, il affecté pensée monde, il affecté corps physique monde, il affecté émotion monde et traumato il affecté l'esprit monde.
Ceci veut dire que traumatisation, le monde traumatisé, s'il ou pas cherche un gens pour capable guérir, il est capable venir sous thème violence la caille, ce soit avec parents li ou bien dehors dans la société.
Throughout the response, the Haitian church continued to grow, including planning new churches. Haitian-led support has been provided through the Global Missions Office from many across the denomination, including funds for new church buildings, the land for the new ministry center, and a national office for the Haitian church. A new compound has been constructed, providing both a guest house for visiting work camps, as well as office and training space for the Haitian Church's National Committee. As program by BDM is ending, some of these initiatives continue. A Brethren group from the Missions Office is finding strong support to continue the medical clinics. Agricultural programs will have support from the Global Food Crisis Fund, and the Trauma Recovery Program continues with BDM funding and Haitian leadership. All the while, new church buildings continue to be a priority for Haitian leadership. We can also see how the Haitian church has changed and grown. They have developed a deeper understanding of sharing God's saving grace by doing good works and taking care of those in need. They plan to raise funds to support BDM responses in other countries, something almost unheard of in a country so dependent on foreign aid.
Mes missions, c'est pas une mission qui travaille dans l'affaire spirituelle. Simplement, mais li wè yon moun, l'el nan besoin li aider tout. C'est ça que fait groupe qui nan même yo, ni ti moun yo, ni dam yo. M'fait même gens à mission en tout. Là yon moun malade, c'est pas seulement à prier. Et puis la fini virer d'eau.
Désastre là qui c'est Il y a un phénomène naturel, et les fois le pays d'Haïti par exemple, c'était, il causait un pile choc, un pile monde mourir, un pile pète. Mais cependant, bon Dieu est capable de transformer des désastres comme une bénédiction. Parce que pas mal de désastres qui permettent que nous venions de présence missionnaire frère surtout qui peut répéter dans le pays. Ça permet que l'Église frère de prendre plus élan. Pour moi-même, des désastres pas contribuer au détruiment, pour capable détruire l'Église. Au contraire, il permet que l'Église puisse aller faire plus progrès. Ouais.
En premier bagage, nous sommes capables de constater, nous venons directement à Mounio, nous faisons en famille, et nous aidons en famille, nous faisons participer. Ensuite, nous avons bagage de bonne qualité, qui est plus bon que ça, ONG qui gagne plus l'argent parce que nous yote bail. Et nous te respecter dignité Mounio plus que l'autre organisation yo. Donc, ça t'es capable de voir différence là, dans la construction que nous faisons, dans le kit ménager que nous baillons, dans l'activité santé que nous entrons là-dedans. Dans tout ça, nous faisons capable nous baillons de bonne qualité plus qui coûte moins cher. Pas nous plus bonne qualité, mais qui coûte moins cher. Nous n'avons pas un pile machine même avec l'autre organisation, nous n'avons pas un pile monde même avec l'autre organisation, mais nous baillons plus bon bagay et nous ça nous bail de plus bonne qualité parce que il y a amour là-dedans, il y a respect là-dedans pour dignité mondiale.
Another part I think about this response is so important is to recognize how many different individuals, how many Sunday school classes, vacation Bible schools, auctions, churches, they came together to really help build this response. But together, they were able to accomplish a great deal. And marrying that or working directly with the Haitian church, we have really not just changed the lives of those people, we've changed the lives of whole communities and brought them the light of Christ.
Et moi, l'Église américaine, nous comprenons tout ça qu'elle fait pour nous. Et ça qu'elle fait, ce n'est pas un bagage ordinaire, c'est un bagage extraordinaire. Et c'est un bagage nous pas jamais joindre dans le gouvernement par nous, nous pas jamais joindre dans aucune autre organisation, nous pas jamais joindre dans aucune autre mission. Pour ça, nous connaissons bon Dieu qui t'a demandé de faire ça, mais il était disposé, cœur qui fait bon Dieu te permettre de faire ça.